upset. That guy said words I don't like. It's a weird world we live in, man. I just can't get over it. It's just shocking. You know, not only how we treat each other, but how we know other people treat other people, and it's all just strange. I'm on this personal journey that I just bring you guys with me on, but you know, I believe we can learn from everybody, from everything. And I just, you know, I'm trying to be the best I can be, to learn the most I can, to have the best understanding possible. And I just look at what we're presented and how, you know, just how bad it all is. I'm watching James Freeman video, and you know, these First Amendment. What's up, Algo? What was that video that you tagged me in the other day? And I was like, you know, it's Ghislaine. Yes, Ghislaine was the head of, it was the Mossad agent. It was the handler, and Epstein was the bitch. And it's interesting, like that's the kind of shit I'm talking about, where, like, to me, I don't, you know, part of me brags about it, but it's like, look, I'm not doing anything spectacular or anything like that. But to me, everything is just obvious. I'm not like figuring things out, putting together, you know, looking through the prism right way to see the hidden message in the thing. No, I'm not doing any of that shit. To me, it's the most obvious element of it. And I've been trying to say these things for a long time, trying to get people to see it. If it cuts out, it's going to cut out for a minute. But Jeff was pretending to be the... You can buy the biggest house in the world, but if you don't pay taxes every... You can buy the biggest house in the world, but if you don't pay taxes every year, your shit's gone. You know, perception is a real motherfucker, and the person, the people, the group, the they that control perception is who controls the world. And the you know, whole Epstein thing, like I've said from the beginning, like, we only know about Epstein because they want us to know about Epstein. If they didn't have this carefully crafted narrative already scripted out for as long as they need it to be, before, they never would have told us about him. You know, we know because they told us. Those kinds of people get busted doing all kinds of crazy shit all the time. Epstein wasn't famous. Epstein wasn't somebody that everybody was trying to, you know, hook up with and, you know, wanted interviews with and all that. Epstein wasn't that guy. You know, he was rich and he was mentioned here and there, but even the mentionings of him were probably just seeding things, right? Just putting it out there so that when the bomb drops, it's not as shocking. But he wasn't some guy that everybody wanted to know more about, and everybody, you know, everybody followed him in his career. He was literally created. He's Charlie Kirk, except he's Jewish, so he was removed. He's still alive. I don't know about Charlie Kirk. I don't know what we're looking at. You know, I wish I could tell you what Charlie Kirk was other than some sort of Israeli military U.S. government operation. That to me seems obvious. But outside of that, you know, the chairs, the video of the chair glitching. There's multiple glitches that aren't explained. The chair glitching, or the chair glitching through the table, is one. That the guy, the civilian supposedly walking off to the side in the video, the running videos or whatever, you know, of Tyler Robertson running, where the guy just he goes behind the tree and he disappears. You know, there's just too much. And for anybody to believe it to begin with is just foolish. It's just, why would you believe what they show you? You know, they literally, I wish I knew, man. I wish I had a better grasp on 9/11. I'm a no-planer. I don't believe that planes were used. But even to me, it feels weird saying it. Because, you know, I've been programmed by the same system you've been programmed by. But it's without a fucking doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, the live footage that we all saw was fake. It's without question. It's without, you know, it's not possible. The footage that we saw was not possible. And that understanding, like, again, it's like, it doesn't matter what political party you belong to. It doesn't matter what silly Jesus you believe in. This is just cut and dry. This is facts. The facts are the live footage that all of us saw on that day was fake. And there's nothing you can do or say. Like, you can't logically defend it. When the footage that we all saw shows the nose of the plane all the way up until, like, the front windshield, passed through the fucking building. The footage goes black for a second, which is like 15, 20 frames, and then it comes back to the explosion. That's fake. It's weird how it's like the most obvious piece of evidence has been, like, everybody talks about Tower 7 and this, that, and the other. The most obvious piece of evidence is the thing that everyone saw. The live footage that every single one of us saw. Because all three major channels showed the same thing. You know, this is the kind of shit where it's just, I mean, I'm actually, like, kind of surprised right now myself that, like, I'm saying these words and it seems like it's not something that you hear anybody say. People try to get into the 9/11 thing. They try to dig into all sorts of, you know, incriminating this and where'd the money go and the people and the this, that, the lack of chosen being killed, the lack of friars killed that day. You guys remember when it was happening, they were telling us between 8,000 and 10,000 people were expected to be dead. I think it went all the way up to 15,000. Because that's who should have been killed in that. If everybody that was supposed to go to work that day went to work that day, then the casualties should have been much, much higher. But the thing with the fake footage, you don't see people talking about it. You see people talking about all sorts of other parts. But it's the most, like, it's the most commonly, it's the right in front of you, right under your nose kind of shit. The most obvious thing. And nobody in their right mind will be able to refute it. Nobody. There's not a single person that you can say, do you think an aluminum plane can cut through concrete and steel, especially the concrete and steel that was the Trade Center? Because that shit was a fortress. You know, that shit was built unlike anything else. Somebody being stupid, messing with my driver, of course, it's my driver. Keep preaching the truth, you're doing great. I appreciate it, thank you. I mean, it's again, the truth is obvious. That's the thing about so much of this, is we've been programmed to think that, like, the truth is super complicated, and it's you have to have faith and all of these other workarounds so that you don't see that the truth is actually much more simple than people realize. It's true. Like, there is a group of people who are untouchable. We're not even allowed to talk about them. And yet they commit the worst crimes in the world, much more so than, again, people realize. Like, we have an idea of it, but we don't understand just how bad it all really is. And they tell us that we're not allowed to talk about them, and so we don't. And then, when it comes to how the world works, like, obviously there's this group that controls things. They're extremely supremacist. They're very unfair. That's the obvious truth. Everything else, it just gets more and more complicated. Oh, well, it's the devil, and it's it's God and Jesus, and there's all these different parties. There's the Republican Party, and there's the Democratic Party, and then there's the Conservative Party. And it's all this bullshit that makes it super complicated. But as soon as you climb the ladder and you just keep going and going until you finally get to the part where you can't keep asking why or how, you have your answer, it's always the same group. Why didn't they make the Twin Towers out of aluminum instead of using concrete then? Right. Oh, you just have to be, you're stupid. Like, there's just stupidity in the equation. If you honestly think that a plane can go through a building, especially the Twin Towers. The Twin Towers weren't just ordinary buildings. That center column was impregnable. They said it made it to withstand multiple impacts from multiple planes. That's what it was made for. And are there people out there that still think that the official narrative is true? Like, there are people out there that believe 9/11 happened the way with the terrorists, the terrorists, they hijackers, the 17 or whatever. I don't fucking know. There are people out there that still believe that shit. It's true. It's basically saying a dirt bike knocked your house down. Right. It's fucking stupid. There were no planes. Is Leo black like Algo black? Is that Goku black? The evil Algo, is that what Leo black is? All CGI. Yeah, I mean, there's this great film called A Rich Man's Trick. Everything from JFK to 9/11. That's really, really good. And I suggest everybody watch it. But just understand that it's part of it. You know, they tell you that every single movie that's ever been put out that you have seen, that's made it to the position to where regular dumbasses like me have seen it, it's because they put it out. FBI, CIA, they put the shit out. Of course, that movie is included. And there's one part in that movie where they talk about Israel and they support Israel. And as soon as you see that support for Israel in the movie, you go, oh, okay, yeah. You can get truth from all kinds of places. Doesn't mean the thing is true. If it has some truth in it, doesn't mean it's true. But that's what they do. They just talk shit, man. Don't get drug into it. I said aluminum is stronger than concrete. It is. There's nothing else you can say if you want to debate me and get some actual fact. You said aluminum is stronger than concrete? Yeah. Okay. I mean, what kind of stupid person says that shit? It just... That's dumb. That's just dumb. And to say that, especially the aluminum plane, it went all the way through the building to the point where you could see the front windshield, and none of it was damaged. Yep. You can't actually see that in any of the other footage. Any of the videos that have been, that were all magically confiscated right after it happened and then kept under wraps for many years. Like, it's really strange when you actually learn about all of the footage that you've seen and how it's all the same shit. What the fuck is going on? No, but it's you've seen the supposed plane hit from multiple angles, and you've never seen the nose of the plane come through the other side of the building, except for in the live footage. That then again, it went black right afterward. And even though it's black for just a second, that's like 15, 20, 30 frames. It's actually a lot. And it's just a simple mapping issue. They mapped the plane in, and instead of having it stop where it was supposed to stop, it went by a couple of frames, and they had to, oh shit. It's supposed to be live. Take your meds. We have a typical Israeli comment. This is what act.il, this is what they tell their people to do because they can't do anything else. There's no actual argument to be had. So, make the person crazy. They're saying things that he doesn't think that we should be his master. He's crazy. It's beautiful. The government has literally unlimited budget to build the strongest buildings from the best earth on earth, and you're talking about being more expensive. I mean, again, why would you even let yourself get brought into that conversation? Obviously, this person is stupid. They're either stupid, they're trolling you, whatever, but nobody is that dumb. Aluminum is stronger than concrete. Just stupid. But this is, again, this is these dumbass little sidebar distraction arguments that'll get you going in directions that make no fucking sense for no reason other than to distract you. So you don't say something, more relevant. You're just stuck here fucking talking about some dumb aluminum stronger than concrete. Everybody knows that's bullshit. But the idea that the plane went through the fucking building, the monster building, like it's so hard to put it into perspective. You know, your experience with buildings, it's insignificant comparatively. Like if there was any building that's stronger than that building was, I'd like to know. Other than some old world building, obviously. But those buildings were just monsters. They were monsters. Let's see. Build the Pentagon. Yeah, they did not build the Pentagon. And they can't afford it. Yeah, no, the Pentagon story is utter bullshit. It was obviously a black flag event. You know, the crazy part is, like, the Tartarian stuff, I'm really surprised that nobody has talked about the Pentagon yet. It's really weird that there isn't any real good Pentagon deep dives. And, like, I guess people just assume the Pentagon, like, the whole Tartarian narrative, we tend to think it, like, there must have been some sort of reset that took place later than people realize. Because the Pentagon is said to have been built in 1941. The fact that 9/11 wasn't the 59th anniversary or the 61st anniversary of the Pentagon being built. It was the 60th anniversary of the Pentagon. On the day that the anniversary of the Pentagon's construction starting, the attack happened. Do you know how just ridiculous that is? How ridiculous it all is? And the thing is, you know, the Pentagon narrative, the construction of the Pentagon is so it really, I'm shocked that it's not a more popular subject, because it's about the ornate building in the world, but it's definitely like one of the fucking biggest. Second biggest office building in the world. But to think that this thing was built in 14 months, or if you want to include the planning for it, 15 months. That just, how does anybody believe that? I'm a union painter in New York. I actually watched the second plane hit the building, but I don't believe that's what caused the building to collapse. No. We have to believe, you, or don't believe. I don't know. I don't know if what you say is true. I know that profile is on here saying something, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the truth. And there, when you look at the official reports, like there are very few people that say they what senseless. No, it's just talking about aluminum. Why would you actually get involved in that conversation? Yeah. Again, you're just being drug into something unnecessarily. So as far as the plane things go, like, again, do you believe everybody on here? It's hard to say. Like, I don't know who this person is. I don't know if this person is real or not. Channel activity. Joined 3 months ago. No subscribers. I mean, immediately that's going to make me go, oh, see, well, You obviously don't pass the sniff test right off the bat. You know, the interesting thing is really, there's arguments going on, but you don't know what you're talking about. Most of you don't know what you're talking about. You have an idea, but you're not some expert on the thing. You're not an expert like this dumbass talking about. He's not like a metallurgy expert, and he doesn't do science, and he's just some dumbass. You know, this is a page that was joined 5 years ago and has no subscribers. I mean, anybody that's going to get into an argument with somebody that aluminum is stronger than concrete, which is why the live footage of 9/11 shows the plane and the nose of the plane going all the way through the building, and yet none of the other videos show that. But that's it's because aluminum is stronger. Like, this is just stupid. This guy is sitting here trying to make these dumbass arguments, which at the end of the day is avoiding the true point of the argument. Because are you honestly dumb enough to say you believe that the nose of the plane went through the building in the live footage only? I mean, that's are you serious? Like, this is what you're doing? But this isn't an expert. We're not dealing with somebody who is well versed in all of this stuff and has looked into this and looked into that and figured these things. This is just some dumbass. More than likely, it's a bot of some sort. I mean, again, you have to love these joined 5 years ago, no subscribers people, especially since you're this active. It'd be one thing if you said that you're not, you're just quiet. But you're somebody who comes to some random live that you've never seen before and you just start running your mouth. You're going to have other people that are subscribed to you. Even my goofy ass wife has subscribers. The fuselage skin is only 1/16 of an inch thick in most places. Well, yeah, right. Yeah, aluminum foil seems like one of those things that is just, amazing. But this is like, the argument is that a plane doesn't go through a building. All that other chatter is just bullshit, right? How thick is the concrete in the buildings? Yeah, it was huge. It was reinforced with steel mesh, surrounded by like 3 foot thick concrete. It was a marvel of engineering. I mean, this is just stupid. Explain why it's only shown in the live footage. Why can't you see the fuselage coming through the fucking plane, through the building, in any other time? This is it's all just, it's an exercise in stupidity. Do you know that it took a year for them to rebuild that one small section that was hit by the plane in 2021? or in 2001. It took a year just to build that section. It took them 14 months from the time construction broke to the time it was opened up to build the thing. 7 stories total, 5 above ground, 2 below ground. You go from one side, like a base side, up to any of the points. Like if you're on this side and you go to this point, whatever, you go to it's as long as the Empire State Building is tall. It's so crazy. But there's so many different aspects of this argument that like lead into other shit. The whole airplane fucking fuel, the jet fuel conspiracy. The idea that 68,000 gallons of fuel can be put into the fucking wings of a plane. That fully fueled, fully loaded with passengers and luggage and shit. The biggest planes are like 1,000,000+ pounds flying through the sky. But you believe in gravity. I mean, it's just, it really doesn't matter what you're talking about at this point. You've been deceived. In 1952, they just decide that they want nuclear power submarines. And within a year or within 2 to 3 years, they have one. Hayom Rickover, who used to be Jewish until he converted to Protestant, because, you hear about that a lot. William Barr's family used to be Jewish till they converted to Catholicism. Never mind. But Rickover, who didn't go to school for all this shit, he just did it. He just figured out how to make a nuclear power plant scaled down to fit inside of a submarine, along with a water desalination plant, because you have to have desalinated water to work in the reactor. So a desalination machine and a nuclear power plant, along with all the air and all the other supplies needed, they just fit into a submarine. They figured that shit out in the 50s. Doesn't that make sense to you? Look at what cars look like in the 50s. Look what airplanes look like in the 50s. And you think they had nuclear submarines. They just magically came up with the Concorde in 1969, the first aircraft to be run entirely by computers, other than landing and takeoff. Supersonic jet, didn't look like anything else. Fucking flew 55,000 feet instead of the 35,000 feet. Was the epitome of like, we're going to be the Jetsons by 2025 sort of tech. They had the monopoly on the idea of luxury travel at a much shorter time frame. Like, it's strange to think the whole thing was derailed with one accident. One accident destroyed the whole monopoly company that today would absolutely be used all the time by people. But that would also show people what 55,000 feet looks like, and since there's no curve, people would be like, hey, wait a minute, what? But they just invented all that in 1969. Do you know what computers look like in the 60s? Computers look like in the 70s? What computers look like in the 80s? Show me any footage from the 60s and 70s of computers that shows what you think, would be enough computing power to control an airplane and all of the things that go along with it. The pressure in the cabins, the temperatures, the stabilize, all of it. All the gravity-defying planery that also has liquid fuel just sloshing around in the wings. You believe it? Not the friars. They are like the Legion, so I have heard. They're the worst people in the world. And that's the head of the monster. The only way we I'm way too old for breakdancing, son. I was a badass little breakdancer in the 80s, though, I tell you that. Doing head spins and shit. I didn't understand why everybody thought it was so hard. Head spins were easy. It's amazing how amazing we are when we're little. We don't know it. Oh yeah. Ben Shapiro. I just want to Kirk all over enemies. Blue and white with Ben Shapiro energy. The only thing that works is when we Kirk the jerks and be the going pride that we are meant to be. Thanks for the reminder. Oh no. Yep. You are right. That's what's gonna happen. You sure look greasy. Oh, how do you like your dudes to look there, Mr. Palad? What do you prefer your dudes to look like? You like your dudes to be more clean shaven and shit? Gotcha. You like them to have big muscles so they can hug you and squeeze you? Now you're fantasizing about what I smell like? Dude, just come out. It's cool. It's cool. You're welcome here to be who you are. You don't have to hide who you are behind some dumbass personality. Just be who you are, man.
Why was the Kirk narrative immediately that he was killed for free speech and Christian values? How did we all just know that before we had any details? Let's stop falling for just another
I know you love it. I wouldn't say it's alcohol. This is all just like it again. It's even shit like Charlie Kirk, right? Even the Kirk narrative. Like, how many of you believe the narrative you're told? And that should show you something, right? Because I guarantee none of you believe what you're told. Like it's all there's at least a piece of it that you're like, that's fucking stupid. Right? So what you're saying is you are willing to say your government is lying to you. You're just arrogant. It's just your arrogance that's here, and your arrogance prevents you from seeing past your own point of view. So you believe things because you believe them. There's not really a reason. You know, you can't tell me why. Like every single person out there that claims to be a Christian, right? If I ask you the simplest question, why are you a Christian? Right? What have you been shown? What have you experienced? What truth do you have that makes you say, without a shadow of a doubt, Christianity is true and everything else is fake? Those Muslims are lying. Those Muslims are crazy. What makes you say that? Yeah. If whatever applies to me applies, then why don't you fucking, instead of saying dumb shit, point out specific things. Do what I'm doing, where you pick out specific things. Do you hear about the geofences on church to spread J propaganda? Okay, but what that's what I don't understand about Christians. Do you understand that Christianity is friar propaganda? Like, why don't people get that? The whole thing where they're attacking churches and all that shit. And yet you still have the churches around the world continuing to be like, well, we support Israel. Don't you think that's strange? If it's real, if it's not all just a make-believe narrative, why is it working this way? You know, it's like it's all friar propaganda. FREIERS. So they can keep the circle of fighting going. Exactly. Well, I mean, but really, it comes back to that question, like, why don't Christians seem to understand this part? Like, you understand that it's a J book. The characters in the Bible are friars. All the main characters, it's all friar bullshit. They talk about the Gentiles as a separate group of people. Those Gentiles over there. The main characters, they're all chosen. And it's such a dumb story that Christians hear the same story said by other groups that just have different character names in different settings. And they go, well, that's stupid. Because they have blind faith, so they believe in a lie. Yeah, that's it. But that's the thing, is like I keep trying to get to them to talk to me. Why do you believe it? Why do you have blind faith in this particular thing? What made you believe that thing was worth your blind faith? Jesus Christ. Well, you spell it however you want to. Lying to them since birth. That's why you can only convince a few of them. Yeah, I mean, there's multiple aspects of it for sure. For sure it has to do with that, but it's so much deeper, right? There are certain things in our society that you're allowed to be attacked for, and we live in this super PC society where people aren't allowed to say the truth. You're not allowed to say things if it hurts somebody's feelings or whatever. But when it comes to, and we all have that need, right? We all have that need to correct things and call out bullshit. So, that thing inside us is stifled. And then we're told, oh, but you know what? You can do that. You can attack people if they say they don't believe the earth is round. If they say they don't believe we went to the moon. If they say they don't believe in a Jesus of some sort, then you're allowed to attack them. And people are like, oh, really? Okay. You know, it's really a strange thing, but it's when you compare the Bible and what the Bible says, and that at this point, you have to accept the idea that it's allegorical, that it couldn't be word for word truth, or else you'd be considered insane. But if you look at how it's all structured and you compare it to today, it's you can see why it is the way it is. You're supposed to believe that the slave religion, the Gentiles, that we're supposed to worship this other group, this chosen group of people. We're supposed to be comfortable with all of our money being like one of them builds a God phone. They talk to God, and God's like, all right, everything you can see from here to there is yours. And we're just supposed to believe that they went, into the town square, and we're like, excuse me, everybody. Excuse me, everybody. Everything here is mine now. You guys all have to pay me. God, I talked to God on the God phone. He told me that this is all mine from here to there. So you guys have to start and that's just how we're supposed to believe it worked. See ya. Have a great day. I mean, it's really a strange. It's strange that it works, but it's because you're assaulted from so many different ways. You from a young age, you've seen the biggest, most opulent buildings, the most extravagant displays of wealth coming from this. You've seen that believing in that thing works out, but you've told yourself that it was because of the belief instead of the fact that it's, if this person is successful and they find out that you believe the same thing they believe, as opposed to somebody who believes in something completely different, even if that other person is more qualified, they're probably going to go with you because you believe the same thing they do. And so that's led to a lot of success and wealth and all that is seemingly, if somebody's really smart, somebody works hard, somebody does the right things, gets themselves a great job and buys a big house and all that, just because they say it was God doesn't mean it was God. Like it's I guarantee if you you stopped praying to God, then it wouldn't just evaporate on you. If you stopped praying to God and you did everything else the same way, it would still work out. You actually might have it better because you wouldn't be giving so much money to the pedo church to pay their fucking fines, pay their lawsuits, their out-of-court settlements. I mean, it's crazy. Like, it's so weird that people believe in this thing that if you ask them about their beliefs, they get upset and they fight. Instead of being like, oh, you're asking me about the thing I believe in? Oh, great. Here, let me tell you about it. Instead, they get upset. So weird. You know, I just can't. I can't imagine there's something that this is the foundation of who I am. I'm gonna raise my children in this. I'm gonna do all the ritual bullshit that I'm supposed to do to say I'm a part of this thing, and you know, and I can't have a discussion about it. If somebody doesn't believe it, I lose my shit. It's just weird. And how that doesn't set off red flags in your own system. Like, I guarantee there are multiple people that are either watching right now or have been watching and jumped off or whatever that are Christian. How come none of those people that are Christian are proud of what they believe in and happy with what they believe in, to the point where they come on here and say, dude, hey, I think you've got this wrong. Here, let me talk to you. Let me tell you. Let me help you understand. Undoubtedly, the majority of the people that have been here have been Christian. Why don't they come through and defend their belief structure? It's strange. It's just weird. It's just weird. The comment section is always so bland, and just, to me, it proves the point. Because if I get certain things wrong, they're quick to point out that I'm wrong. It's not like they're just here to talk shit and be stupid. If they can get me on something, they do. I mispronounce something, I get some math wrong, I get a date wrong, and they actually happen to know it. But they'll point it out. Yet when it comes to anything else to the contrary, you know, they have nothing. And when you know that they're here just waiting for me to screw things up, waiting for me to get the math wrong, and they jump right in, well, if they're just waiting for me to be wrong, what are they waiting for? You know, if I'm wrong about this shit, why aren't they jumping in on it? It's the strangest thing that I haven't had a single person come in and be like, you know, friarism is okay and this is why, and you know, you shouldn't have an issue with it because of this. And not a single person has come in to defend the friar idea of things. What a weird fucking thing, man. What a weird... Like, what a weird belief system to have, to be a part of, to associate with, to support, that you can't sit here and tell me good stuff and tell me, you know, why we should accommodate this shit. You know, why we should be subservient to this crazy shit. Strange, man. But whatever. I'm bored. So I appreciate those that have been here. Check out the links in the description. There's lots of good shit in there, especially the Israel Hayom article. Go read the Israel Hayom article. It's so important that you read that article. Go watch the Hollywoodism link as well. I mean, I'm providing you with the receipts. And the receipts aren't crazy conspiracy theory people. It's not my videos. Some of those videos are mine, but Israel Hayom isn't mine and Hollywoodism isn't mine. These are the receipts that they provide you that just validate everything I'm saying. So go, go watch those things. Go read the article and then come back and you tell me what part I misconstrued. Tell me what I'm getting wrong. Please. 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 Anyway, have yourself a great day. And you pedophiles, kill yourself. Oh yeah, like, share, sub. Pedophiles, kill yourself.